let's see how to set up a climbing system for VR using XR Interaction Toolkit. So here I have my Unity project open and I've already imported the XRITK package. Doing that is really simple. You can click on Windows, Package Manager, click on the drop down and select Unity Registry. Scroll all the way down till you find the XR Interaction Toolkit. Now make sure that you're using version 2.4.3 or later. If you're not able to see this version, you can copy the text that is there over here. Click on the plus symbol, click on add package from git URL and paste it over here and click on add. Now this should add the latest package for you. You'll get an option to import it as well. Once that's done, you can click on samples and import the starter asset. If you'd like, you can import the other samples as well, but we're not going to use it for this video. Also, make sure to install the XR plugin management package. Once that's done, you can close this window, click on File, Build Setting, and based on the platform that you're targeting, you can switch between them, either Windows or Android. Now, since I'm using Quest 2, I'm going to select Android and click on Switch Platform. Once that's done, you can click on Player Settings, and in here, you need to change the company name, product name. Make sure the color space is linear, and here you need to check the override default name package, set the minimum API level to 29, set the scripting backend to IL2CPP, and make sure that you have the ARM64 checked. Then you can click on plugin management. And now since I'm going to try this from the Unity editor, for it to work, I need to click on the PC tab and check the Oculus plugin provider. And in the Android tab, here again, once again, I need to check the Oculus provider. Now, if you're using HTC Vive or something like that, you can go here and select OpenXR and not Oculus. Alright, so with that, we have our project set up. Next, we'll set up our scene. So here we have an empty scene with just the main camera and direction light. And the first thing that we want to do is create a ground or a floor. So we'll right click, select 3D object, and let's add a plane. Now make sure to set its position back to its origin. Then we can add the XROrigin by right clicking on the hierarchy window, XR, and select XROrigin. Now make sure to set this position back to its origin as well. Now as you can see here, it has created a main camera, left control, right controller. Now these controllers come along with ray interaction and we don't want to use them right now. So we'll go ahead and disable these for both the controllers, and instead we'll search for a direct controller in the project window, or direct interactor. Select it, drag and drop it inside left controller, and the same once again for the right controller. Then you can select the direct interactor, and it needs an interaction manager, so you can drag and drop this over here. And we want to set the sphere size to 0.06. Same thing for the right controller as well. And we can leave the rest of the settings as it is. We don't have to change anything. Then select the XROrigin and let's add a locomotion system component, a continuous move provider action-based component, and also a snap turn provider action-based component. Now these three components will allow us to move around this play area. Now let's go ahead and reference it. So the locomotion system needs an XROrigin, continuous move provider needs the locomotion system, and snap turn provider as well. So let's add that. Now if we check out the continuous move provider component, you can see that you can set the move speed, and also applying gravity, we want to make sure that it's applied immediately. And now we can choose whether we want to locomote using left hand or right hand. I personally prefer right hand, so I'm going to select this, click on this button, search for move, and we'll select right hand locomotion move. Similarly for the snap turn provider, now since I'm using right controller to move, I'll use the left controller to turn. So I'll select left hand and let's search for snap and let's add that. Alright, now with this we'll be able to locomote in this area, but there are some more things that we need to add, that is a character controller. So we will add a character controller and let us set the radius to 0.1 and height can be 2, it really does not matter. Along with this, we need to add the character controller driver. It needs a locomotion provider, which is going to be continuous move provider. So we'll drag and drop this in here. We'll set the minimum height to 0.5 and maximum height to 3. So this will make sure that as our headset moves, the collider that you see here resizes automatically. So with that, we have the basic XROrigin setup. Now in order to add the climbing system, we need to add one final component, which is called as climb provider. Now this needs a locomotion system, so you can just drag and drop this here, it will automatically add it. Now these three parameters will define in which direction you can use it. So if you have the X and Z direction unchecked, it means that you can just grab it and move only in the Y direction. So basically you can restrict it in X and Z direction. Now there's one more thing that we need to do. If we select the left controller, and open up the XR controller action base, you know, select the setting symbol over here and select the left controller, and it's going to automatically add all the reference. Now we're getting this from the starter assets that we imported. So if you're not able to see it, make sure that you have imported the starter asset. Same thing for the right controller as well. Alright, so now that we have the XROrigin completely set up, we can go ahead and add a climb interactor. So I've gone ahead and imported this ladder asset. I will leave a link for this in the description. So let me add this to the scene, and this is going to be huge. So I'm going to scale it down to 0.1 and rotate it by 90 degrees and move it slightly forward. There we go. And slightly up as well. Alright, so now in order to make this interactable so that you can climb, you can select the cylinder, or if you're using any other ladder, just make sure to add different colliders for each of this component, and that's exactly what I'm going to do right now. So I've added a capsule collider for each of these tiles individually. I've done it for the others as well. Now if your model has a single collider, then that would work too. Then you can select the ladder and add the climb interactable component. It's going to automatically add the rigid body. Now we don't want it to have gravity, so we're going to uncheck that and check is kinematic as well. Then you can open up the climb interactable component. Now it needs an interaction manager, so I'll drag and drop that over here. Now it needs a list of colliders. Now if you leave it empty, then it will automatically add all the colliders that are there as a child of it, so you don't have to individually drag and drop them. Now for the distance calculation, we want to set it to collider volume, so that no matter where you are interacting inside the collider, you will be able to grab it. And it needs a climb provider, which we have given it in the XROrigin. So we'll drag and drop this over here. The ladder transform can remain as it is. Now filter interaction basically tells you at what distance it can be interacted with. So we'll leave it at 0.1. It's totally fine. And yeah, that's about it. So we can, last thing to do here is to remove the main camera, save your scene, and now let's test it in VR. Now I connected my headset using Airlink. Now if you're not sure how that's done, then you can check out this video over here. Alright, so now let's press play and test this out. Alright, so here I'm in VR. I'm able to use my right controller to move around and left controller to turn. And let's go here. Now as I'm trying to grab it, I can feel some haptic feedback, which is really cool. So I can grab it and move upwards like this. Now this looks really nice, and it's really scary as well. Now if I leave this, I'm going to fall back to the ground. There we go. And let's climb again. Now as you can see here, actually if I try to move along the X or the Z direction, it really does not work because you have constrained it. But if you want, you can uncheck them and then it would work for you. Alright, so now we can exit the playground. So that was pretty simple, right? Now you can go and create some cool climbing experiences like this one that I created, or these ones that a developer built during the 2021 VR Game Jam. I will leave a link for his page in the description. Alright, so that's it for this video. I will see you in the next one.